morning. Welcome to Nutrition in the Kitchen. We are here at the regional kitchen at the Farmers Market on Upper Front Street in Binghamton. And today we are going to make a super easy meal for you because it's nice and cold out and you want to come home and smell the food cooking. So we are going to make a pulled pork sandwich. And the beauty of it, it's cooked in a crock pot. And to go as our side today, it's going to be a carrot cabbage slaw. And you're going to learn a lot about cabbage and how it's such a healthy, nutrient-dense food that a lot of people don't take up as an opportunity to eat in their daily diet. So today we're going to just take a pork shoulder. You want to use like a fresh pork. You don't want to use a smoked pork. And you're going to put it in the crock pot. You don't have to sear it, nothing. You just place it in the crock pot. I did it early because you have to remember you need to wash your hands once you handle raw meat. So I already have it put in here. We're going to add 1 1/4 cups of apple cider, a teaspoon of crushed red pepper, sprinkle it over, a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Put the lid on, plug it in, turn it up to high. 8 hours later, you have your meat for your pulled pork sandwich. And we'll come back to that after we let it cook, but I'm going to show you how easy this coleslaw carrot goes together. So it involves 2 carrots. I like to use a peeler and just make long pieces. But if you want, you can use a grater and grate them up fine. If you have small children, they might like it that way. I used a purple and green cabbage, and I just sliced it up really fine. Say you're running short on time this week and you don't want to make the coleslaw, you can buy it in the store, but it's not going to taste as fresh as ours. We're going to use a 1/4 cup of oil, some vinegar. I chose red wine vinegar. You could have whisked it up in a bowl, but last night this is how I did it at home and it turned out just fine. I'm trying to not to dirty too many dishes here and just kind of mix it together. If you have time, I would make it either the day ahead or the morning that you're going to have your coleslaw and pulled pork sandwiches, because it gives the chance for the flavors to come together. I use red wine vinegar. I think that's a nice mild flavor versus just plain white vinegar. There you go. Simple. There's our carrot cabbage coleslaw. It's a wonderful thing. And I got all the vegetables here at the farmer's market for that. The purple cabbage and green cabbage have the same nutrients. It's just a different color. It looks pretty good. And we want to make it enticing. I'm going to put on some gloves here so when we go about making our pulled pork sandwich, we're just going to use some forks. Sometimes I just use my hand, but we're going to get this out. It has cooked so long in there overnight, it's just falling apart. But before I took it out, I checked this morning and I used my meat thermometer. I should have shown you how to do it, but I will just show you right now. You just put it in at an angle. It needs to be 180 degrees for it to be done, and it's at 181. So it's just a good idea to get used to using a meat thermometer because, yes, it costs money, but it also costs money to be sick, and that is like cheap insurance for your family to be healthy. Here we go. You can use a fork to just pull them apart. You just kind of hold it. You pull the meat apart like that. Sometimes you might want to let it cool a little bit, but we can see the steam rolling off from it. And we're not going to throw away the juices yet, okay? I'm going to pick out any part. I don't want to eat a lot of fat in it, but A lot of people are afraid to eat pork because they think of the old pork where it had a lot of fat on it and stuff. And farmers have changed the way they raise pigs. And now they make them much leaner because that's what the customer wants. They want something that's lean and good for their diet. So we're just going to take the pulled pork, put it in a bowl, break it up a little bit, and then you're just going to take a spoon and ladle some of the juices. Some people are going to say, wow, you didn't put any barbecue sauce on that? You know what? This has such amazing flavor. I used the apple cider vinegar. It made it nice and tender. I would recommend using the apple cider vinegar because it makes it so it's nice and tender versus a white vinegar. But if you have white vinegar, go ahead and use that. We're just going to make up a sandwich here for us. Put some pulled pork on there. And we're going to come over here. Try not to drop it with my hands. And maybe put a little coleslaw over the top. Put the top on, and there you go. That is your pulled pork with slaw, and you can eat the slaw on the side. The one with the vinegar is a much healthier version than buying the mayo or creamy coleslaw mix that you can get in the store. There you have it, a meal. You start in the morning, 8 hours later, you come home from work or a busy day, the kids are at school, you have your sandwich. I'm going to show you how wonderful. I did pick some whole grain buns to complement the meal. There you go. And thank you for joining us today for Nutrition in the Kitchen. Hope you will join us next month, and I know Rachel will have a tasty recipe for you next month.